Greetings, everyone. This is Payman Lorenzo, your host of the Leaders Out podcast. Today, I have another awesome guest, my new friend from Germany, living in tropical paradise, Bali, Jarne. And we connected, when was it, 2 weeks ago to the wonderful Serving Circle. We had a chat last week, wonderful chat. Found that we have a lot of things in common. But we, of course, we both heart-centered entrepreneurs because the Serving Circle is all about that. But most importantly, we both share the passion of football. For me, football is my religion. For him as well. So we had a nice talk about football. And today's a big day because today my team, Milan, will turn the tide and make it to the final. So fingers crossed, I believe in all that. So, but a little bit about Jarne. So he's a very inspiring young man because he's done something that not many people do, especially at his age. He's been able to take his life in his own hand and decide to do things his way. He didn't want to follow this typical route of go to college, get a job, get married, get 2.5 kids, the white picket fence and all that, the typical route. Instead, being a rebel all his life, he started, to follow his heart. He did after finishing his studies, he got a job, but the job, his heart wasn't into it. So he left his country, Germany, and he went traveling the world, and now is beautiful Bali, where he's working to make a difference. Is here to inspire heart-centered entrepreneurs and difference makers to elevate their energy in 21 days through activating the third eye chakra, which is absolutely fantastic. And a little bit about him more. He's one of the things he aspires to achieve. He wants to work with children. That's where his heart is. He wants to adopt children, help them, teach them, and do some volunteer work to really inspire and be a role model for the new generation. So that's something really commendable. We're going to talk about that and a lot more. So without any further ado, Jarn, welcome to the show, brother.
Thanks for having me, Payman. Pleasure to be here.
It's an absolute pleasure as well. So first and foremost, for people who don't know you, tell us, we're going to talk about your business and your impact later, but as a person, as a man, who's Jarne?
Righteous in my way,
Mm,
I'd say. That's for sure. You know, always thinking differently than the most of the people. Never fit into a box. And every time I try to fit into a box, it didn't end up well. So, yeah, I think along the reason that I'm traveling is because I love moving, I love learning, I love seeing new places, meeting new people,
mhm.
right? I Many people read books, right? I learn from people, I learn from conversations, right? This is for me such a great source of acquiring knowledge and growing as I see the reflection from me within other people, right? So yeah, it's awesome. I love resolving my triggers in challenging discussions with other people, having opinion differences, right? And being
Mhm.
able to just sit with a different opinion and having a healthy discussion from heart to heart rather than really beating each other up or I'm right, you're wrong. Like there's for me no such thing, right? But yeah, I think what inspires me the most is really seeing people happy, right, and fulfilled in life. And as a child, wasn't really the most happiest child. I contemplated a lot about the horrible things that we see in the world still today, and I always dreamed of making a difference. And it's beautiful to see now the path even more clear, stretched in front of me than ever before.
Beautiful. Love that. We're going to dive deeper into that in a moment. But first, to start, what I usually like to do is ask a series of rapid fire questions to further get to know you as a person. Ready?
Awesome.
All right. So tell us, what makes you happy as a person?
My partner currently.
That's a great reason for sure. Beautiful.
Yeah.
What makes you smile?
The love I have for myself and what I do.
Mm. How easy was it for you to find this love for yourself? to build that love for yourself? How challenging was it?
I had to learn to trust myself with the right actions and the right words and deeds.
Mm. When you say you had to learn to trust yourself, give us a couple of examples.
I wasn't speaking my truth as a
Mm.
child. I held back,
Wow.
right? I nodded in situations that I actually didn't felt like nodding. I agreed to things that I internally was fighting with. So I was hurting myself, and I had to learn not to do this.
That's a beautiful and powerful reminder for all of us. Absolutely. Now, let's take the happiness factor a couple of notches higher. What makes your soul set on fire? What makes your heart sing?
What we humans are capable of doing, and the more we look into magnificent healing results that people achieve, as an example, right?
Mm.
When we look at the teachings from the old masters, just like Jesus, and this makes my heart sing. What a human being is actually capable of doing. And yeah, I'm just curious in what we as collective will achieve together.
Beautiful. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, what makes you sad and angry?
Lies,
Sorry?
lies, people lying.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yes, yes. I'm with you. What scares you?
I think that I'm not making it, that I'm not fulfilling my dreams.
Mm.
So I'm choosing love to conquer the fear.
Do you sometimes feel also this terrible thing that we all face at every level and people at the highest level, which is the imposter syndromes sometimes?
I'm becoming more, the more healing I do, the less I do have it. I'd say not really anymore. If you would have asked me a year ago, I most definitely would have said totally. Yeah.
I see. What would you say is your number one personal superpower?
Healing through my voice and also physical touches.
Love that. Love that. Now, you love traveling, right?
Absolutely.
All right. I'm going to take you down a different type of travel, but before that, tell us, what's it like living in Bali? What's your typical day in Bali? And first of all, why Bali?
Why Bali? This is a story on its own, I think, guided,
I'm sure.
divinely guided, and the information came through channeling whilst I was writing in my journal.
Mm.
And how my day-to-day life looks like when I'm not having a call at 7 a.m. and I basically go out of bed and
What time is it now in Bali? Is it like
get a
9 p.m.?
9:22 p.m.
Oh, that's
Yes.
okay. It's not too bad. Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. And yeah, really, when I'm not having a call in the morning, in the early mornings, I do wake up, I do some stretching exercises. I eventually look that I sweat a little bit the first time in the day, no heavy exercise,
Mm.
though I want to move my body and I want to wake up. I do some breathing exercises, some meditation, journaling, and then I start my day having calls with people, having clients, doing some healing work, and connecting and networking with people to really expand my connections so I can, yeah, create a network that is impactful and so we can make a change together.
Where are most of your clients located?
Man, I have had clients in Europe, Australia,
All of you.
Bali,
Beautiful.
US.
So do you
Yeah.
have like a set schedule? Like for example, when I was living in Kuala Lumpur, I would do my calls in the morning from 7 o'clock to say 1 o'clock, which is from 7 p.m. to maybe what is it, 10 p.m. Pacific time. So that's the evening. Most of my clients are in North America, some in Europe as well. And then the afternoon, I would just do whatever I wanted. Have lunch, meeting friends, going to the pool. Do you have something similar as a schedule?
Yes, usually the mornings are very busy. Doing midday, afternoon is pretty easy, and then towards the evening, it can happen that I do have a few more calls. Yeah.
Awesome. Now, let me take you down a different type of traveling, down memory line. Remember when we were kids growing up, people around us, family, friends, teachers always ask us, so Jarne, what do you want to become when you grow up? What is your answer as a young boy?
I love the question, and I always struggled with it because it seemed for me that everyone knew, but I did not, right? And today, I believe that they didn't knew as well, and some of them eventually still don't know, right? So, however, primary school, the answer was football, a professional football player, bro.
Me
Like,
too.
seriously.
What was your hero or your favorite player back then?
Michael Ballack.
You know, you will probably laugh, but one of my very first, I'm talking, was a little boy, like 6, 7 years old. One of my favorite player back then was Klaus Allofs, the German guy that was playing for Marseille. He was an amazing winger. He played the same position as me on the left wing. And I just love the guy for no reason.
Yeah, it's awesome, right? Like you just intuitively feel it,
Yeah.
there's like follow your intuition. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. My favorite player growing up has always been Marco van Basten, but I liked other players too. So,
And this is it, yeah, being open to it, right? I mean, many players have like just individual skills, special
yeah.
characteristics. So love that.
There was one German player that I really loved, enjoyed watching, Pierre Lidbarski. Remember him?
Nope.
He played for the German team in the 80s, and the 90 was in the team, in 86, even 82. I was too young back then, but the 90 he was in the team, and I just loved the way he was short, but very technical, very similar to who would be today. Maybe like a mix between Iniesta and Pirlo type of player. Seriously, he was amazing. It was very short, but
Yeah.
good luck trying to get the ball off of his feet. Impossible.
Man, I mean, we just talked last week about Lewandowski, how he protects the ball,
So
right? Like
big.
this is the confidence that comes with that, right? And like the ball like glue on his foot.
Yeah,
Like,
that's crazy. Nah,
totally.
amazing. So you wanted to become a player. How long did you keep that as a dream, as a goal?
It always has been in conflict. I'm super honest. I mean, the competition in Germany is quite high, right?
Crazy, yeah.
I mean, I've been fairly good, right, over the standard player, and I played in the best teams in my surroundings, was scouted and all those things, but there was the last kick missing, right? Give you another example from what I was interested in as a young child, sitting in church, which explains my path currently. I looked up at the figure Jesus Christ, and I want to do things as he did, right? So I think the healing, helping people, and really, how can I make people feel good? I think this has been the most strongest force, right? And then if I look at the competition, that wasn't always healthy,
Yeah,
right? So, definitely. But I love playing, right? Just physical movement still today, and
important,
I
yeah.
believe 90 minutes, someone playing a football like a match, and standing there and having full focus. I think this is really, really remarkable that not a lot of sports have something you can compare with like that. Yes, they all have some more breaks in between. But yeah, I always had to be super aware of the whole time that I was standing on the field. So I really enjoyed it.
Now in football, if you take your concentration off, that's when you can literally get taken to, you can get killed. The guy just passes it, says, see you, bye-bye. And you
Exactly.
make your team lose. What position were you playing?
Man, the most of the time I'd say COM, center offensive, also my favorite, slightly behind the striker, but I had to get the balls. I wasn't someone who liked to wait off the ball. I like to take action.
So
I
you
played in the center as well. I just love to be around. Yeah,
so like Michael Ballack, basically, or like Pierre Lidbarski, for example, you know?
exactly. Yes. I mean, I also played on the wing because I've been
Mhm.
quite fast, right? But
Right or
or
left?
both sides.
What
I
what what
can
what is
I
your
use my better foot, well, better,
okay?
stronger foot is the right, though I can give you amazing balls with my left as well. I can kick corners with my left foot
You know,
to circle them in. Yeah.
for me, it was funny. My right foot was the most powerful, but my left foot was the most accurate. Do you have
Mm-hmm.
something similar too?
I understand what you're talking about there. The drill that I can give with my
Yeah,
left foot is just awesome.
yeah, exactly. Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful. Awesome. Now, growing up, what was your relationship with school? Did you love school or did you hate school?
First time I came back from school, I asked my mom if I have to go there now every day because I didn't like it. And I tell you, now I'm coming out of bed with more ease because I found purpose, right? 12 years
Yes.
school, and seriously, still a month, 2 months ago, I was
Mhm.
fighting with going out of bed because the old habit has been so integrated of turning around in the bed, snooze, snooze, or totally off, you know? So this has been a horrible journey for me. I fight at school mentally a lot, yeah.
What was your favorite subject in school? Sports.
Sports.
Me too. For me, sports and geography.
Exactly. Geography was great as well because I mean we're interested in traveling, right?
And all the teams from the Europe and the European Cups. Where is this? Where is this? I was able to know teams that nobody, places that nobody even knew. Like, for example, Trabzonspor or Dnipropetrovsk in Ukraine or whatever, you know? The magic
Awesome.
of the
Yeah,
European Cups, you know? That's amazing.
like that. Awesome. Yeah, definitely.
Was there any subject you couldn't stand in school?
Depending on the teacher, bro.
Oh, yes. Was there
Depending on the
one
teacher.
was there one that stands out that you couldn't stand at all throughout your schooling?
Today I'm more wise, right?
Mm,
Today I have no reason to talk negatively about anyone because I
sure.
know they also have
I'm not
their
talking
reasons.
teacher, but I'm talking about a topic, a subject.
If we go eventually, yeah, I'd say physics because
Really?
of the teachers, not because of the subject matter,
Mm,
but the the vibe that I got from
yeah,
certain people. I think like this is still today, right? If I don't vibe with someone, I don't vibe with someone
totally, totally.
because I just feel, as I say, I don't like lies, I don't like, I'm
Mm.
very sensitive human being, right? I'm always have been as a little boy as well, and then having some grumpy man telling me what I should do and didn't really work out.
I'm with you, brother. I'm with you. Now, what kind of student were you in school? Let's say, for example, we're in the same class in grade 10, grade 11. Were you more the life of the class, the always the chat, the guy that chats, talks nonstop? Were you the clown? Were you the nerd? Were you the silent guy? Tell us what kind of student and what kind of person were you back then in school?
I rarely had my homeworks done. I rarely have had them done. Um, if I've done them in the last minute, right?
Mm,
And I always came through with ease, but always just as much as I had to do, right?
yes.
So sometimes I have a bit of a clown. I have a sarcastic way within me somehow. I've definitely have this from my father, though
Mm.
my mother very lovingly. So I have been very, very, very smart in the way that I articulated myself already as a student back in school. So I never really had big troubles, no. But
Beautiful. What was your very first job? And do you remember how much you were getting paid for that first job?
I worked as a, how do you say? It was a holiday, like when we had school holidays, right?
Mm.
And I wanted to earn my first money. I was working, I don't even know the name in English, but if you Dachdecker in German is the word. I just think of the word. Not carpenter, but you work on the top of the houses, preparing the roofs, you know,
Like a
changing out
roofer?
the,
Like a roofer?
do they call it roofer? Could be a
Yeah, yeah,
roofer.
yeah.
Yeah, yes, yes.
Okay.
And then after school, I went to the army
Wow. Wow.
for, so I chose to go along this way. What I haven't had to, but I chose because I always was curious, right? From my father's side, there always came the, oh, you can fly helicopters, right? And I'm like,
Was your father
wow.
in the military?
He was, yes, yes. I mean, he
Okay.
served for a few years, yes.
So were you deployed anywhere, or were you just stationed in Germany?
I went to Berlin. I wanted to leave my country town, right? I wanted to experience something new. I wanted to earn some money. I wanted to be
Mm.
away from
Yes.
family. I want to really go out there.
Yes,
And
yes.
then I chose Berlin.
Ah,
So I basically had the choice to go wherever I wanted to go because of the test results, right? The only thing I couldn't do was an emergency man, right? Because they say because of my legs, I have old legs, right? Soccer player, you know, the O shape of legs. They say because of this, I couldn't go, couldn't be an emergency.
hey, that's a blessing, that's a blessing in disguise.
I mean, I was interested in this, you know, because
Yeah.
I love be working with people in close
Mhm.
contact, but I was a Garda soldier then in
Wow.
Berlin, right? Standing on the red carpets and having done the training for this was quite heavy and
Oh.
interesting. Lots of meditation, lots of drill, discipline,
Wait,
mental,
they teach
physically.
meditation in the military?
No, but I had to stare straight for hours.
Okay, okay. Okay. All right.
You learn, you know. Yes.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Nice, nice, nice. All right, now let's move forward. Let's talk about your path from the moment you left school to now. How would you describe it? Would you say it was pretty much straightforward? Once you get into one lane, you're pretty much set for life, or was it more like turns and twists, like a roller coaster?
Turns and twists like a roller coaster.
Isn't that more
I
fun?
It is. It is. I don't like no my today is not like tomorrow. My yesterday is not like today. I'm constantly changing, right? I'm
Yeah.
always having new perspectives from everything that I do, from every choice that I make.
Mhm.
So I'm very self-observant, you know, and if I have like a routine day by day, as it was in the military, man, I get tired. I lose my uniqueness, right? I lose
Creativity, you
my
know?
creativity, my my sense of humor. Yeah, no, I'm getting bored by those things, right? I really like to develop constantly, and it's been a man, it's been a journey. Not
Mhm.
always easy. I went through lots of stuff in the last 3.5 years on my travel. And yeah, you know, everything that happens for us, you know, I always learned out of the experience that I've had, right?
Yeah. When did you leave Germany?
3.5 years ago, December 19.
What made you leave? Was it this specific time, specific moment or event, or was it something that was accumulating and it was like over time
It
you
was it was somehow aligned, right? I always been curious. My school English wasn't the best as I haven't been the most active student, right? I was
Mhm.
more dreaming in my own reality that I always been creating. Though a friend I went to the army with and I met there, he went to Australia after his time at the army, and he then, when we have been in contact, he said, "You would love it." And I'm like, feels great. I just like pull and like wow, because I didn't really knew what to do, right? I was
Yeah.
working as a disability support worker, which I loved. I learned so many things, right? How simple life can be, as an example, just to name one. But my heart just guided me and I wanted to find love, right? Like this is the answer. I wanted to find love, and this was what always moved me, what I found out later.
So when you say find love, do you mean love as in terms of a girl or whatnot, or was it more self-love that you were looking for?
I thought it was for a woman.
Mm.
I found out it was for myself.
Um, and the ultimate love is loving yourself that others can love you.
That's the way, right?
Yeah.
I can love others just as
Yeah.
much as I love myself.
How long did you serve in the military?
Only funny story, bro. Only 6 months.
So in Germany, is it like a requirement for how long you have to
You
serve?
don't. You
You know.
can go out of the army in the first 6 months, basically. So I signed up contract for 12 months. You don't have the ability to go out of the army in the first 6 months.
So in Germany, the military does it have something like, say, in Canada and the US, where if you work for if you serve for 20 years, then you get a very generous pension after that, and you can just retire after that.
Probably.
So if you start at 18, 20, 38, basically you're retired, you're still young, you know?
I went with 18, right? And it was
Yeah,
most definitely an experience
yeah,
after school, right? I just didn't wanted to do
mhm,
anything like that. I was just over it, right? Wanted
yeah,
to earn my money. Yeah.
sure. So you said you left Germany in 2019. Did you start traveling around the world or did you fly straight to Bali?
Australia has been the
Ah,
destination. I arrived in Melbourne and then basically
okay.
went my way in Australia around, stayed in Tasmania for a long time,
Whoa,
for a year and 2 months, where I had a massive transformation. Stopped drinking, stopped taking drugs, stopped partying.
beautiful.
After I got hit by a car on the highway on April
Wow.
25th,
What
and 2
happened?
years ago, I walked up the highway 5:30 in the morning. Couldn't
Drunk?
remember. Yes, couldn't remember what happened. I woke up
Holy.
in the emergency car, right? I asked him what has happened. He told me, you were walking up the highway, mate, with a typical Australian slang, right? And I look at him and he said me this. I just stared up against the roof and it just made click. I knew, right? I saw my past, I saw my future, I saw me right now here,
Wow.
and I knew it's time to change, right? And from this
Yes.
moment on, never been the same.
Man, that's beautiful. Sometimes we need that kind of, so to speak, slap on the wrist to make us aware of what we need to do. Because
Mm-hmm.
we human beings tend to learn the hard way. You know, if you tell
Oh yeah,
someone, a child, not to do this, or even a teenager, whatever, even an adult, they will be 10 times more, intrigued to do it.
exactly.
Human nature. But if you tell a child not to put their hand on the stove, they will put it. But once they burn themselves one time, then they will learn the lesson. Same thing here.
Exactly. This is it, right? We somehow want to experience it for some reason, right? It's just super. I'm a curious boy. I always have been, right?
And
So,
also part of our own rebellion because we don't want to be, hey,
mhm.
I know better. You don't tell me what to do. I know best. Who do you think you are? Then oops, life teaches you, you know?
Life is the best teacher, yes.
Absolutely. What did you do in Tasmania for a year?
Healing.
Ah, okay.
So I've been on a medical certificate for around 8 months, and I had time
Mm,
whilst I received loss of income, so I got paid not
mm,
a lot of money, but right, I could pay for everything that I needed.
mm.
And I really took time to heal myself, to dive deep into. I found out to meditation. I
Yeah.
became a Reiki practitioner,
Wow.
right? And one thing came to the other, right? And now I'm basically up to master my own energy system, right? So
Sure.
it really moved me towards places that I before consciously didn't thought of.
So let's backtrack a little bit. So once you started with the idea and when you started traveling, were your parents supportive or were they surprised, disappointed? What was your parents' reaction to you wanting to nothing to do with a traditional way of life, but wanted to live your way? What was the reaction? How did they react to that?
I have to say I can be very, very grateful for everything that
Mm,
my parents ever did.
sure.
As I found out that many people who traveling, they haven't have a very great relationship, or the parents say them what to do, right? My
Mm,
parents have never been like that.
okay.
So although my mom was very protective, yeah, don't do this, as a mom, right? But very loving, very kind. And at the end of the day, they always just wanted me to be happy.
Yes.
And the turnaround really after I have been very, very rebellious in a way that I really partied a lot, right? I've experienced some things. Then they have been very happy about my turnover, right? I mean, the car accident, they weren't quite happy and sad, and on the other side of the planet can't see your kids. So definitely
Yeah.
has made a change. But from this moment on, I started being more in contact with them. Before I more took distance, although we had contact, so it always has been loving. They have been very supportive. This moment really changed me also to acknowledge that it's beautiful to have a good relationship with my parents, right? And
Yes.
learn to heal myself through being in contact with my parents, resolving those old triggers, right? Those old emotional wounds and traumas from childhood.
Yeah. That's a great segue. You mentioned about your transformation, your healing, and all that. You know, there's a saying that says, "Change your story internally to change your life externally." And by a story, I mean what we tell ourselves in our heads. So when you're Jarne, you were at your lowest point in life so far. How do you change your story inside your head to change your reality outside? Did you do it through the help of friends, family, mentors, books, videos? Tell us a process you used to do that.
Sure. I had no other choice than to feel my pain, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I chose to stop taking painkillers and to deal with the pain that I experienced,
Wow.
right? So I lost a few teeth, and I just said to myself, I have to learn to be honest to myself, right? This was the key aspect, and honesty is on my values, the highest. Being honest to myself, right?
Sure.
So man, breathwork was an important part at the beginning,
Right. Wow.
that I learned to use breathwork. Started up with Wim Hof before I learned to find my own way, right? But yeah, to reset my nervous system and to sit with tensions, to sit with blockages that I found I had, right? That I wasn't aware of before. So breathwork has been a big part, that's for sure. And then consistently, yeah, keep going one day by.
Sure. You mentioned painkillers. What kind of painkillers and why were you taking painkillers, if I may ask?
After I got hit by a car, at
Oh,
first
okay.
they gave me
Mhm.
morphine, and then I
Okay.
had oxycodone. So very strong painkillers that they
Yes, yes.
gave me. But 3 days I walked out of the hospital and I stopped taking painkillers on this day.
Wow.
So
And how were your parents notified of that? Did you call them, or
yeah,
was the hospital that called your parents to let them know about your accident?
I did call them.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
I can only imagine how stressed they must have been, eh?
Happy that I'm alive, right?
Absolutely.
Uh,
So how did the car hit you? Did it hit you from behind, from front, or you don't remember?
like from the front, from the side.
Oh, wow.
So slightly from the side, and I hit my head on the asphalt. A
I
scar here was this close to my brain. Very lucky. And lost one tooth completely, and two others are damaged. So they're not my real ones. I walked around for 5 months with a with the open mouth, not the most comfortable things. So I learned also while in this process to stop caring about what other people will think of me, right?
yeah.
Man, big lesson, big
Ah,
lesson.
yes. People thought that you were a boxer. You were
Did you had a fight?
yeah.
People ask me, did you had a fight? I'm like, I don't do that, man. Like I just
You
got
should have
run over
said,
by a
"I
car,
had the
right?
fight of my life."
I had to fight.
Literally.
The document from the hospital said pedestrian versus car. It looked like a fight, right?
Yeah. Wow. What were you trying to do? Were you trying to cross the street, the highway, or were you just walking along the highway?
I was just walking on the highway, literally. I couldn't remember, right?
On
I
the
woke up
sidewalk in the middle.
in the middle, they say. I was
Holy
walking in the
smoke.
middle. and I couldn't remember. Some pictures dropped back in, but I was so gone that, and I always thought I control myself, right?
Yeah.
So
Wow. Were you alone? Nobody else with you at
yes,
the time?
only me, only me. I wanted to walk home, and it basically I missed the way to go right, and I just kept on going, went out of the town or city, and just kept going, kept walking. I didn't thought anything really, I think. Not a lot. I was listening to some music, you know, and I was very emotional at this stage, is what I found out. Very, very sad, in a sad situation, listening to Ed Sheeran actually.
Yeah.
Some sad songs, or some lyrics that touches my emotional body for sure. So interesting to contemplate and to work through all of this after the
So now looking
trip.
back with the wisdom and the time now looking back at that incident, how do you view that accident? Do you see that as just an accident? Do you see that as a wake-up call? And for you to get back to your path and to what you were meant to do, to awaken, to change, to make some drastic changes, for example, stop drinking, stop partying, and get your act together, so to speak.
Definitely a wake-up call, right? And I would also say a blessing that happened
Yes.
to, because although I believe I would have made the change one day because I always knew it, I wouldn't have transformed as fast as I did now in the last 2 years. I reflected just today back on the last 2 years where I have just what I went through and the transformational journey, right? And it's fascinating. It's awesome, right? I think for me, with my age, I'm 24 now, and I could write books, right?
Wow.
Not just one. I have so many experiences that I've learned, and as you say, you know, learning through this experience, like the wisdom that comes with this, is that's awesome.
Do you ever absolutely? Do you ever ponder how would have your life turned out if you didn't have that accident?
You know, this question brings me even back to the question that you asked before, that how was my transformation? How was the journey, right? How have I done all of this? And I started seeing that every choice that I make
Mm-hmm.
leads me down towards a certain path, right?
Sure.
So, and I saw that the choices that I've made before led me towards having the car accident.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out that other people are living a successful and happy life, right? And I started following the right people on Instagram, right? They inspired me. I looked up to them, and I'm like, what? I was asking myself, like, what are they doing what I don't do, right? So, and I started making different choices. I started to speak a different way. I started to act a different way. I just started really creating a new character, right? And I really start to choose my own happiness, which is important.
Wow.
It's awesome. Awesome journey. It's you know, I mean, you know what I'm talking about there, right? It's all about the choices that we make at the end of the day, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, now I see timelines, right? I'm sitting here and I know I can see through, I see my timelines. I can see past, future, but I also see
Wow.
how different choices would have led me down towards different paths, right? So it's just interesting to observe.
So how are you able to do that? Is it because you have some psychic abilities? Is it because that you were able to open your own third eye chakra and that allows you to see different timelines?
I believe that everyone has access to this because we're all humans, and you know, I'm not better than anyone else. I believe we all have amazing abilities, right? And
Sure.
I'd say like the understanding comes from the crown chakra, right? From the highest chakra. And the higher we vibrate, the more the higher our frequency goes, right? The more knowledge we have access to. And through love, unconditionally and really intentionally, right, questioning things and doing things, we can access so many things.
How do you raise your vibration and you vibrate at a higher level?
comes back to love, practicing love, right?
Mm.
And I haven't loved myself fully. This is why I made choices. I was looking for love externally, right? So I just learned to speak my truth. Is a very, very important thing, to share my dreams, my visions, right? I started journaling and started recording, started manifesting, started writing about the things that I want to have,
Wow.
right? Exercising, new food, better food. This is also why Bali is just such an amazing place. Tropical
Yes.
fruits, man, fresh,
Oh
right?
yes.
I just
Organic.
feel it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Exactly. So
And
many
it's
ways that you
community,
can
the
do it.
people around you also helps a lot because they say you're the average of the people you spend most time with. And Bali and most places in Asia are absolutely amazing for that.
Definitely out of the Western world, right? Where people are in stress and hustling and grinding and like just for the money, right? Not for
Just with the
happiness.
basic, with the cost of living getting out of hand right now, the
Hmm.
stress, the pressure. Yeah, no, I hear you.
You say an important part there right now as well, the people,
Yes,
right?
people is everything.
Because the people I was hanging out with, right? I wasn't longer there anymore, right? I didn't resonate it any longer with what we did. So I
Mhm.
had to find new people. And the transition, oh, man, life is a journey and I have been very lonely at times as well, right? I had to do the internal work. I had to say no to people. I had to make different choices. I have had to really change myself, or like to what means change myself for sure to a certain degree, but being honest to who I want to become and
Mhm.
then take responsibility on it, right? Making a
Yeah,
decision that I want to change and then taking action to do and to make the changes happening for transformation at the end of the day, right?
totally, totally. I totally relate with that because after living abroad for so long, now that I'm back in Canada, I have a hard time connecting with people here because a different mindset, different life. And just like you said, it's a cheesy line, but it's so true. You're the average of the five people you spend most time with, you know? And in Asia, that's one thing that I really miss about Asia is that, sure, there's lots of, entrepreneurs, lots of business people here in Toronto, but you don't have that entrepreneurial scene that you have, say, in Bali and Bangkok or in Kuala Lumpur, whatever, in Asia. We can all get together the same path and networking events, meetups, and all that. And yeah, and that's what I really miss about there. And I can't wait to get back. So I hear you, man. I hear because when I talk with friends, family, cousins that I grew up with, we have nothing to talk about because we're completely different stages, especially,
Hmm.
you know, me going through my spiritual awakening for the past 3 years. I start talking to them about spirituality and all that. They look at me and say, what are you talking about? They're just like, they barely understand what I'm saying.
And yeah, this takes courage, right?
Yeah.
And I hear you, bro. I hear you. It's for me now that I do find a way to
Mhm.
balance that out, right?
Yeah.
To see, and we have to be true to our own path at the end of the day, hey? And
Mhm.
which is the
Yeah.
most important part. They do not
Mhm.
rarely understand the perspective that I am coming from, and therefore judged many actions of
Yeah.
mine as well. So it just reminds me to one conversation that I had with a few actually, right? I mean, starting up business, you make mistakes, right? But I have been very, very excited, very enthusiastic, right? First started out network marketing basically at the beginning of it, right? Had a great product, just believed in it, right? Just made me feel so good as well. And I wanted to let my family know from this as well. And my family didn't believe in me. And I tell you one thing, I wasn't strong enough at this stage and I stopped believing in myself because other people didn't believe in me,
Yeah.
right? And this is a big, big lesson. Because what people tend to do, although they all that they want mean good from whatever stage they're at, right? It's not that they wanted to harm me, but I allowed it, right? I allowed it to happen. And I stopped believing in myself. I stopped doing all of that. And I went back and said like, wow, right? I really had to fight my way back up. And then when I started my own business with healing and coaching, right? And then my grandma again said like, oh, hopefully this all will be like this. And I somehow felt like the criticism, right? In there, the insecurity about my moves that I make and the risks that I take with this, right?
Sure.
And I said lovingly to her, grandma, you know, I believe in myself, and right, I believe in myself, and maybe it makes me sad, right, in that my family is not believing in me, but it makes me stronger, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Sometimes we get overwhelmed by that and let that stop us, but sometimes we need to learn to use that as fuel,
Mhm.
as fuel, as motivation. Oh, you don't believe in me? Let me show you, you know?
Exactly. And being able to articulate this in a way that not just because there's something coming your way that you start putting
Mhm.
some negative things onto other people, but lovingly telling what you stand for,
Mm.
right? And this is in the on the journey that we are on, right? And the spirit, like really growing into our spiritual self more and more, being on this journey of also spiritual entrepreneurship, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is a journey also in those situations, especially with the people who trigger us in a different way, like our family, right? When we start changing, we start becoming aware of things that we haven't been aware before. And
Sure.
then we have the chance to heal us from those ancestral patterns.
Yeah.
And when we stand our love, right? When we stand in the love and the light and expressing that in a way, they start understanding that, and we allow them to heal through us too. And this
Oh,
is the most powerful thing and the most beautiful thing that I experience with in the conversations that I have with my family, because it's a challenge every time I go on the call. Right?
that was I was asking. So when are you coming back? When are you coming get to get a proper job? When are you coming to settle down? Because I went through that so many times that now they don't even ask,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know.
Because they know, right? You
Yeah.
make yourself clear.
Yeah. So let's talk now about business. So there's one thing you said that I love the way you framed it, which is spiritual entrepreneurship. So
Mm-hmm.
when we go to when someone goes to Asia, especially to those hubs of entrepreneurs, usually they're exposed to all kind of businesses like e-commerce, affiliate marketing, agency, freelancing. So I'm sure you were exposed to all of these businesses either before or during. So tell us your business journey. What was the first business you started? Or you tried to do first before and that led you to your current business?
So first time, as I said, network marketing, right?
Oh yes.
Got someone from Germany started texting me, you know.
That was in Germany?
He was from Germany. I was in Australia after my car
Okay.
accident. So 2 years ago.
Okay.
So yeah, I did this for a few months. I started to use the product, started talking about the products. Didn't work out because the strategy wasn't aligned with who I am, you know, doing those cold marketing mails and sending people, you know, I didn't like that. I also tried to do it a little bit different and to flip the script basically and to find the need out, right, through a conversation, through questions, but took so much time and so much effort, right? It just still wasn't aligned with me. And then I stopped one day because other people didn't believe in me and I stopped believing in me too. So I stopped doing this at the same time, basically, when I became a Reiki practitioner, right? I've done Reiki 1, 2, 3 right away with a Kundalini workshop, and it just blew my mind, bro. It just blew my mind what I was capable of doing. When I did my Reiki level 3, I woke up with a heart pain, right? Every breath, my heart was in pain. And we were sitting there in the meditation, and we were to get to channel energy to our higher self. So we channel energy to the higher self for a few minutes, and then bringing the higher self down and placing it into our hearts. And whilst I did this, the pain disappeared completely. Boom, right? The day after, with the Kundalini workshop, after having this experience on the first day, Reiki level 3, the next day, Kundalini workshop, we're sitting there in the meditation, doing a meditation, what I now do with clients as well, to move up along the spine. And I just felt the energy in my Sushumna, which is the energy channel along the spine where our 7 main chakras are located on.
Sorry, what is it called? What is it called? Shushuna?
Sushumna.
Shushumna, okay.
Sushumna. And I felt it becoming wider and wider. And I felt this density just leaving. The internal was light, right? Great flow of energy, and the energy just became wider and wider, and it just left my body, and I expanded in a way that I just experienced total silence for the first time in my life. And I was pure love and pure light through this meditation. And then I'm like, whoa, I actually want to have people experiencing this, right? Like, guys, you have to know about this. So I started doing some Reiki to people, offering sessions, doing a bit one-on-one work with friends. And yeah, after I done this for a few months, I found online coaching certification, right? There was an event that called Turning Point Intensive. And I'm like, Turning Point Intensive? That sounds interesting, bro. So I've done this, signed up in this free event for the coaching certification. Next month, I've done the coaching certification, became certified as coach, started the journey as a coach, forgot about the energy healing. Basically have been 9 months building the coaching business, somehow worked with the first clients, and then actually want to go back to healing. And it's when the healing, the channeling, like the magic happened, right? And with all of that now in Bali, what preceded, the way that it's just mind-blowing, really. So this has been the journey. And why spiritual entrepreneurship? Now I believe we're moving towards a new era on this planet, right? And we're all becoming more aware of the spiritual realm. And we start talking about it, right? We start talking about the weirdness, about our psychic abilities, mediumship is out there and all those things, right? And I always received interesting information, and I always felt different. And during the time in coaching and starting going into the serving circle and observing people, doing other networking groups as well. I mean, the serving circle, the spiritual entrepreneurs, right? Heart center.
Yes.
And you go into other networking and you feel the different energies in the networking calls, right? In the Zooms, exactly. So I observe people, right? And I'm like, personal development is one thing, though what they do lack is the heart, right? The heart-centered work, the way they pitch, the way they talk, the way they want to sell you things, right? Just the whole concept. I started like, okay, yes, you can do work as much as you want on your mindset, right? You can do much work up there and you can try your best. If you don't feel it, if your heart isn't resonating with what you're actually talking about, people will not transform the way that someone transformed when you do the work on yourself and tap into your heart and really learn to serve from the most purest place that you can possibly serve. And this is for me then, now when we're moving into this new era, what I really want to transform, what I feel called to talk about, that, guys, let's have a heart-to-heart conversation.
That's it. Because I'm a firm believer that, for example, my podcast is called Lead of the Heart, because when I talk to people, I love that coconut, man. That reminds me so many amazing memories. Oh, that's amazing.
Awesome. Yes.
That's awesome. Give me 5, man. That's beautiful.
No.
Wow. Awesome. On my podcast, when I bring people, I want to have heart-to-heart conversation. I want to get to know the people. And this is what I teach my students as well. Never speak from a script. Don't even speak from your mouth. Speak from the heart, because when you speak from the heart, that's when the magic happens. That's when you build that really, you display that really real authenticity and genuineness, and that when people really can resonate with you, that's when you really build that unshakable trust and confidence in others. Not when you're faking it, because when you're faking it, people can see through your BS. You're just trying to be nice just to get a sale or whatever. No, no. Speak from the heart. That's when the magic happens. So I love it when you mentioned that heart-to-heart conversation, because that's what I'm all about. So preach, brother.
Yeah, man, pleasure, right? And this
Yeah.
is, it's awesome to be here, and this is what I feel within you as well. And this is what we're
Thank you.
developing, right? And we're growing as a collective into that. And it's awesome to just spread that message. Yes.
You know, when you look back at your life, or at least when I'm just imagining the events that you covered so far, it's amazing how everything, you know, there's a saying that sounds cheesy, but it's absolutely not cheesy. And that is, everything happens for a reason at the right time. Everything you go through in life, it's not an accident. It's on purpose to lead you and guide you to your next stage. You having that, you know, being, you know, a rebellious, you know, teen and young adult, and then trying to leave your way, go to the other side of the world, and then, you know, getting drunk, getting hit by the car, and that led to your awakening, your opening, and that leading. So if you look everything, and everything is basically almost a perfect linear progression, because it leads you to next, and what you're doing right now is preparing you, guiding you to what's going to come next for you. What are your thoughts on that?
I saw a nice quote last night. I think it was from Yogananda.
Yeah.
And it said, every day is preparing you for tomorrow.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
Something like that. And this is it, right? Like, what can I do now? So I go to bed, right? And I wake up and I can love myself, right? And I can start anew, each day anew. But today I can prepare myself for tomorrow, right? Every time I don't do anything, every time I don't know, I leave my clothes on the ground, right? I have to pick it up the next day, and I maybe don't even like it, right? I can do it sometimes, right? Like, far from perfect, right? We're all on our journeys. But when I prepare everything today that I want to prepare, tomorrow is so much more easy, right? And who doesn't likes it easy in the morning when they wake up? Who likes stress? No one likes stress. Who likes to clean in the morning? I don't know. It's not me. Maybe some people do. It's okay, right? But it's important for us to know that the choices that I make now and the now, they affect the following path that I'm on, you know?
Big time.
The big time. We can create the life we want to create with the choices that we make, right? So, we humans are so powerful, and it's awesome to start seeing the fruits of the work that we do, right?
Yeah, I was talking with a wonderful lady yesterday. We had a 2-hour call. She is a person who's had multiple near-death experiences. And in one of her near-death experiences, she had a vision. She was sitting in an empty theater, and on the screen was projecting her life. And she was communicating telepathically with God, whatever. It was saying, look at this. You're the one, you're the director, you're the actor, you're the one guiding everything. You're the one selecting who plays what, who plays that. Basically, we create our reality. It's not cheesy, you know. Just like the saying, "As within, as without, as above, so below."
Mm-hmm.
It's all true. When you really understand things from that perspective, you understand that, hey, it's actually for a reason. It's not just cheesy. It makes sense. That the decision we make today, every single moment. You know, you remember those? I don't know if you remember, but back in the '90s when I was growing up, there was those books before the, you know, the internet and all that, like adventure books. You select your adventure. You start at a point. You select your character, and then I remember we had to roll a dice with a physical book, And then you say, okay, which path do you want to go? Where do you want? What? So you're facing a wall, or you're facing an animal. What do you do? I was fascinated by that. Do you remember those games, those books, those games? You know, before the
Man, it,
yeah, this is like what life is about.
it is interesting, right? You know what I have in mind right now? Mario, some Mario game. And when you die, you have to start again. When you do the same mistake again, you have
Yes,
to go
yes,
back
yes.
to the beginning. And I'm
Oh, the
like,
video games. Oh, yes, yes, yes. That is powerful. Wow.
this is very powerful. Yeah, you know, it's okay to make a mistake once, but at the second try, right, or the third try, you have to learn out of your mistake, right? And
Until
when
you
you learn of your
complete,
mistakes,
you go to the
you
next level, you finish the
go
game,
to
and
the
then
next. Exactly,
this is
exactly.
life.
Same, exactly. Same people, Samsara and Nirvana. Samsara is when people are like living in the circle and like stuck in the samsara, right? Because
Yes.
they're doing the same things. They expect things to change. They expect to become happier, waiting to become saved,
Mm-hmm.
but they do not change. But once you make a different choice, you start acting a new way, you attract new ways, right? And this is
Mm-hmm.
how we come to Nirvana and we're reaching this place of bliss, right?
Yeah.
So powerful stuff, man. Thanks for the first time that I thought about this like that. Like
Actually, I will have
like
to do the exact same thing for you, brother, because I love video games, and I was actually at my brother's house on this past weekend, last weekend as well. My young nephew, he loves Mario Bros. We played nonstop Mario Bros.
mhm.
And I've been playing games since I was a kid. And the way you put it, you play, you lose, you restart until you master it, and you go to the next level and next level until you, so to speak, you defeat the big boss, and you rescue the princess, and you become the king, and you celebrate it, and you finish the game, and then you go to the next game. This is the best parallel, the best metaphor comparison for life. I've been hearing this. I'm sure you too, that life is a video game, life is a game. But now it really, when you said it, I swear to you, man, I had goosebumps. Saying, wow, that is so freaking true. I'd never thought of it this way, even though it was
No,
over in front of me.
yeah. It's awesome, right? And then you get the princess when you're at the end, right? Then you have the princess, then you have time to
And
do
they play the
it's just
music for you,
awesome.
you play the music for you to celebrate you. Yes, 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 yes.
And you see her all the time, right? You see the princess along the way and you just want to get her, right? You just want to
Man,
get her
that's
and you
beautiful.
keep fighting.
Give me 10, man. That's beautiful. Seriously, that's wow. See, sometimes we
Yeah.
get some realizations, some awakenings while just having beautiful conversations.
hmm And yeah, I mean, just those ideas, I've never thought about this before.
Same
It
thing
just
here.
comes in.
Yeah. I swear to you, I've never looked at it this way, but I've been playing games since I was a kid, and I said, wow, how can you miss that? How can you be blind to miss something as evident, as obvious, and as basic? Wow.
Yeah. And this is it, right? Just analyze your life,
Yeah.
right? Analyze your life and okay, yes, what hasn't worked out this way? What can I change? And adjusting small things, right? One small thing at a time. Sometimes I adjusted too many things at the same time because I'm like, whoa, really? I'm capable of doing those things. I like, okay, I do it, and I took risks. But sometimes small changes can always already lead us towards wow, changes that we couldn't have imagined, right?
You
Doors
know,
opening up for us.
the last 5 minutes are worthy of a highlight. I'm gonna make that a highlight and post it separately because that's beautiful.
Bro, I mean, I just thought of like when I'm in the serving circle tomorrow, this is a great thing to share, right?
Let's share it together.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yes, yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah. Oh, maybe you're today actually.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, I'll let you
You're
share it
today.
because you were the one that inspired me with this, and I will give my perspective on it as well. So
Exactly. Whoever
awesome.
whoever is whoever is raising the
No, no,
hand
no, no, no.
first.
It's your idea. You're the one that opened my eyes to it. So you will share it, and I will share my perspective, my view on it. So,
Awesome.
uh,
Awesome, yeah.
All right.
Small
So yes, you mentioned that you're here to inspire heart-centered difference makers to elevate their energy in 21 days through activating the third eye chakra. Tell us about the
Mhm.
process you use. Tell us how do you do that?
Bro, when I'm doing one-on-ones with people, like I'm doing chakra work, that means we do chakra meditations.
Mm-hmm.
I help them to opening their chakras through the meditations. We dive into the third eye. From there on, we can tune into any body part in our body as well. I can help them, I guide them heal their emotional blockages within their being through first tuning into the third eye, then as well, and then tuning into the blockage, finding out why the blockage exists, and then basically extracting the wisdom, clearing out the blockage, and moving on. So this is part of it. Mainly it is about meditations, right? I'm delivering personalized meditations for home as well, stress relief if they have a stressful day, good night meditations if they would love to do this. And I
Mm-hmm.
tell you one thing, it is also about gratitude. Who would have thought, right?
Absolutely.
Who would have thought? Like 21 days, write down what you're grateful for today, right? Celebrate yourself. Be grateful. Be grateful for what you have so the universe knows to give you more of what you want, right? But I'm channeling as well. So this is another great way for me to help and support people, channeling messages from my higher self, from God. I also have been channeling the
Mhm.
Arcturians,
Oh wow,
channeling,
really?
yes, yeah.
How did you
So,
so this is something I've been fascinated. I've been listening to a couple of people online on YouTube. One is Ben Johnson, a Canadian guy. I don't know if it's called New Earth. I will send you the link. He's been doing it for
mhm,
10 plus years. There's a big following on YouTube, and I listen to this guy. He channels Bashar. It's an higher entity. But speaking of Arcturus and Arcturian, believe it or not, since I was a kid, I've been absolutely captivated, fascinated by the stars. When I was a kid, my name was Pilot. I wanted to be an astronaut, always
mhm,
other than football player. But
yeah, yeah,
at night here, I go out when the sky is clear. I have an app that tells me what star is where, and I just stand there, even in the dead of winter, and it can be pretty damn cold here. I look, but I'm always drawn to one star, Arcturus. Just the way, I don't know if you've seen it closely. It's like always, blinking always. Double. It's
mm,
almost like a double stars, but clink. Not double stars. Sorry, one star, but always blinking, blinking because it's so massive. So I've always been drawn to Arcturus. Why? Why,
awesome.
why did you? What? What drew you to Arcturus? Was it something that you were always attracted to it, or was it something that just happened?
The curiosity came when I
Mhm.
first found that out that people are doing this, right? I have a friend in Australia. She is channeling the ninth dimensional Arcturian Council of Light, and is just like
Holy.
she's just awesome, right? And I have contact with them as well. And the thing is, as a light being, right, coming here, light worker,
Mhm.
and doing the work, they're beings that would love to give their message, right? And they're basically waiting for us to open up, right? So I feel here right now in my energy field, I have more than just the Arcturians, right? They entities, beings from other stars who energetically would love to share their message with the world because they love to contribute to what we're doing here right now. And I get goosebumps on my entire being right now while I'm saying this. So they're waiting for us to open ourselves up so they can come through, right? We can talk with them in our mind, right? So the biggest connection, also Palladians for me, Palladians,
Yes.
Arcturians, Lemurians also. And I
Andromedians,
also had,
vegans,
yes,
Syrians, Lyrans, all of those. Yes.
yes, and the most profound that I channeled was Yeshua Christ,
Really?
the man they call
Wow.
Jesus. So again, the goosebumps comes on my left side now and enters my right side, just comes out. And the energy, the pure light and love, right? The Christ that he represented here. And he said the Christ is coming back, right? Within all of us, right? The Christ lies within us. And we can have access to this. And the knowledge that he had was because he was rising his vibration as human being, right? And he, devoted and sacrificed his life towards this higher path, right? He chose the path.
You know, a couple of things. First, one is a silly comment. You kind of look like Jesus. If you just were to grow your hair, make it longer, you know?
Man, I just learned as well. Jesus is a black man. He was a black dude, and this is a whole nother story to roll up
Oh
on
yes,
this
I heard that
planet.
too. Yes, I heard that too.
The
Yes.
planet will make, like, Christianity will be
It's gonna destroy and shatter all the preconceptions. Yes, yes.
Interesting, right? So, but yeah, I mean, the healing abilities, I believe we all have, right?
Yeah.
It's like, are we willing to accept that?
I have one question we were talking, and that's a burning question I always wanted to know for myself. How do I can get in touch with those higher beings, like for example, the Arcturians and all those higher level spirit, guides? How do I get in touch with them? And that's question number one. Question number two: when you channel these people, how do you protect yourself from malevolent, entities, the ones that want to hurt us, and the ETs that want to hurt us, like say the reptilians, the Dracos, and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm.
How do you protect yourself from them while you're connecting with the good ones? So number one, how do people can connect to them? How can I do it? And number two, how do you protect yourself from the negative ones?
What I intuitively feel is when you want to connect with the Arcturians, you can do this. You can ask them to come in. You can start communicating with them on yourself, and it's a progress, right? So I started building up that relationship. I learned how do you do this? Love. In the same way that you are vibrating on the frequency of love, lower entities have no chance. And this is something that we have to acknowledge, right? People are afraid of their own darkness. And this is the thing, right? Like, I truly believe when we vibrate on the love and light, and the third eye is pure light, right? When we're mastering that chakra, where everything flies away, right? You light up a candle in the dark and the darkness runs away, right? It is like that. And we are the lighthouse, right? We are having the light within us. And when we are in love, and we really want to connect, if we desire this from our hearts, then we can do anything, right? And another thing is, do you want it? First and most important thing, how much do you want it, right? How much do you want it? This is a key aspect. And then from there on, love and trust, right? And they're always there to support you.
Beautiful. Love that. That's something that so when you said it's a process, do you start that first with meditation, breath work, journaling?
Yes. The way I came to Bali was journaling and channeling through journaling. So it just comes out. Jarne is leaving the country and is going to Bali. And I'm like, what? Really? So
that was channeled to you before you actually had the
yes.
idea? Wow.
So this is how I get moved, right? This is like the egoic self, the human Jarne, very less. He is here to do the mission, right? I'm here to fulfill the purpose. Though I also asked for help before, right? I think since I came on the spiritual path and I became aware of my abilities as human being and the soul, and as eternal being even, right? As soon as I became aware of this and I found out that other people can do it, I always have been one of the people who says, if they can do this, I can do this too, right? So This is the belief that I carry within me. This is just like, man, like we're all human beings, right? So I don't differentiate myself from you, although physically it's this, we see us as different, though we are part of the same. So
we're drops of the same ocean.
exactly, right? If you take the drops of the ocean and you zoom in, it's the same.
No matter whether in the Pacific, in Atlantic, in the Indian Ocean, in Arctic, or the Mediterranean, it's all the same composition.
Exactly. So yeah, it's the willingness, right? And then it's like a relationship. You build the relationship, right? You build your business. Your business does not comes from heaven and here it is. It's something that we have to develop because we moved away from it for so many years as collective, right? And the collective consciousness where we all experience, right? We are having we chose to disconnect ourselves from it one stage at a time. Now we moved away from our abilities and now we're finding back, right? And we're important is, I think, for everyone who listens also, is that if you ask the right questions, right? If you ask the right questions, you get the answer. Your brain sends out the signal and your friends going out and help you.
By your friends, you mean your guides and your
or just
entities?
the energy, maybe also, but if we look at it in terms of energy, frequency and vibration, now when we're sending thoughts out, we get certain things back as within, so without.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned that, but since I've understood this, you know, before, one thing I enjoyed doing was playing in my mind scenarios of me arguing with people, you know, and of me trying to get revenge or imagining some negative scenario. For example, I had one just yesterday. I was walking and I imagined that someone would come and just rob me and take everything from me, my clothes, everything, and I would be basically naked and just trying to get back. Before that, I used to love playing those scenarios in my mind. But now, whenever a negative one comes to my mind, I say, no, I don't even want to let him get into my mind, because I just read something very powerful this morning that really confirmed that whatever you think about it, you're planning it, and you're projecting the energy that, hey, I want this experience to materialize, to manifest, to unfold in my reality. So now I completely, not even let those negative, scenarios like arguing with someone, trying to say, oh, put someone in their place, so to speak, or imagining those nasty, sometimes some violent, some very bad scenarios that sometimes we get in our head sometimes. I don't even allow those to come into my mind anymore. I say, no, I stopped before even entering. And I only allow now positive things that really empower, inspire me.
Exactly. Right. The power of that, like it comes, right, and you become aware of it, and then you can send it. Just go.
Because
right?
we're antennas, we're projecting. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's frequency, energy.
So, the example from my life with just, it's insane if you really think of it. Like the ego thinks it's insane, right?
Yes.
For me as a child, driving on a highway with my parents, driving to a football game, right? On the Autobahn in Germany, driving, and I played the scenario in my head. How do I need to land on a car as a pedestrian on a highway? So
really?
I'm not getting damaged so much. I envisioned myself
Holy.
as a little boy, bro. Only truth speaking here.
So would you say that what happened to you was a result of you manifesting all that all these years? Oh, mind blown. Psh.
And then one moment of
weakness,
weakness, not having the control because I was numbing myself, right? So powerful stuff, man. We have to be aware of any thought that we have, right? Like observing our thoughts and learning to do this. And if people don't know how, there are many people around, just look what they do, and go out there and find a way to get what they have, right?
Wow, powerful. This is a beautiful conversation. I'm loving it. Wow. So now let's get back to your business. Tell us, so you said the program is 21 days. Tell us more about how do you achieve that? What is the structure? Is it one-on-one? Is it in a
Yes,
classroom? Is it in person? Tell us about everything, all the good stuff about your business and your empire.
yes. It's basically the entry for me to work with me, right? 21 days spiritual activation program, 5 sessions one-on-one in 21 days, up to 2 hours. And yeah, we're having a good time in those 2 hours, and we're basically really preparing you for tapping into who you truly are and really gaining a clue of what your mind is capable of. Right? Working with your own energy and tapping into your energy in a way that you haven't tapped in before. So you become aware of the stories that play out in your life and in your mind. So it's awesome, man. It's just awesome, right? The first time that I created something that's just uniquely myself, right? My energetic signature. So I vibrate with it. I speak about it. I breathe it, right? So just awesome. I always dreamed of helping people to understand and to see the world through the eyes of God, right? So we're just too powerful. And the program really helps people tapping into their own power, right? It's all about empowerment. It's one-on-one. I'm there for them every day on the phone and chat. You know, if they have any questions, they have the guided meditations that are personalized for themselves at home as well. So I really spend time with my clients to ensure that they feel the support, right? Because we all know how important it is to feel supported in this material world.
Yeah. So do you spend 2 hours each day or 2 hours per week or 2 hours?
It's 5 sessions within those 21 days. So in 3 weeks, we split off, and I'm flexible with my time. If my client is in the US, I find time to do this. I'm pretty easy with doing what I came here for to do, right? I'm just enthusiastic about it.
I'd like to share with us now an example of the most transformational case that you've had that you had with one of your clients so far. That you really changed things for him in an amazing way.
She started smoking with 13 or even earlier.
Oh, wow.
Right? We've done some work on her throat, chakra energetically. She stopped smoking. 2 days later, one day later, her shoulder pain she had for years disappeared. And she hasn't smoked ever since. It's now 3 months ago, I think.
Wow. How long did it take you to have that result with her?
1 session.
Holy smoke. Do you also help people with removing mental blocks, money blocks, things like that?
Client of mine, like a year ago, we worked on her Manipura, her solar plexus chakra, and she attracted 3 clients in the next days through clearing out that block that was holding herself back from feeling worth it of getting that, right?
All right. I'm interested. Let's talk after that.
Sounds good.
Awesome. So how are you getting your clients?
Networking, right? Relationships.
Exactly.
And having people reaching out to me as well, right? This is just the most beautiful thing. I met a beautiful friend here in Bali. She went back home, works as a stewardess, right? She reached out to me, and sure, I'm here to help, right?
Beautiful, beautiful. Listen, brother, absolutely love this conversation. We can go on for hours and hours, but let's start to wrap this up. We definitely will do a part 2 and part 3 and part 4. So much to wisdom in you, and despite it's incredible because physically you're pretty young, 24, but you're talking with the maturity of someone that's twice, if not 3 times your age. And I mean it. This is not a compliment. This is an observation, and it comes from here. So keep doing what you're doing. So to wrap things up, I'd like to ask you a series of rapid fire questions on advices. Ready?
Yes, love it.
So what's the best piece of advice you've received so far?
Holy shit. Wisdom comes through experience. You have to make decisions to earn experience.
Yes.
So take action and take risks and learn out of everything that happens. Failure doesn't exist the way that the society perceives it as. It's always a learning and growing.
Love that. And on the other side, what has been so far the worst piece of advice you received other than get a job?
People who tell you you have to do it a certain way.
Oh, yes. This is how it's done. This is how you will do it.
I've done it this way. You do it the same. Like, no, thank you. Didn't work in school. Doesn't work with me now.
Absolutely. Especially now.
Yes.
Awesome. Do you have your own podcast yet?
Man, I found the name. I am ready to ask the first people. I also invite you as one of my guests, and you inspired me last week, and I'm super thrilled of starting up.
Delighted to hear that. All right, awesome. Now imagine that you have your podcast, and today you're interviewing the most special person in the world, which is yourself. What is the first question that you want to ask yourself? Don't think too much. What is the first question that comes to your mind?
What is inspiring you the most?
And what's your answer?
Seeing a human being full lit up for joy and happiness.
Love that.
Man.
The last question I ask, and that is my favorite question to ask, and that is, what is the smallest thing you've done that has had the greatest, deepest, most profound, positive impact on both your life and business? And by small, I don't mean something small. I mean the one thing. For example, for me, it's been starting my podcast. What about you, Jarne?
Starting going out there, and also I'm just new in business, starting being connected with entrepreneurs, business people, and learning. Really putting myself out there and taking the step, right?
Beautiful.
And learning along the way.
Beautiful. Love that. Now, if someone wants to connect with you, what's the best way to do so?
I will place my Facebook or LinkedIn, but maybe LinkedIn, depending on your viewers, right?
Yeah, send me all your links. I will put them in the show notes, but you can mention them for people if you listen to it now.
send you my Linktree link so they can click on it.
Beautiful.
And they find everything. They're also able to book in a call if they feel called to. And yeah, Jarne Großstück on Facebook, JARNE GROSSSTUECK, and on LinkedIn, Jarne the Healing Magician. Jarne, JARNE, and the Healing Magician.
Do you have a website?
Not yet.
Okay.
Building on a domain right now. All coming.
Awesome. Listen, brother.
Also featured on rogerburnley.com. So part of Roger's mission as well. We started Roger Burnley, yes.
Okay. Oh, Richard Burnley. Oh, yeah, Richard. Yes. He's an amazing human being.
Oh, yes. Channeling since 1988. He is also I'm doing group coaching with him as well. So everyone who is deciding to learn from us, there's amazing stuff coming.
Let me know what's the next time that you do it with him. I'll definitely make time for that.
Awesome.
Beautiful. Brother. Listen, brother, absolute pleasure, honor, blast talking to you. This was one of the most enjoyable conversations I've had in a long time. Keep shining your light. Keep blessing the world with your impact, your presence, with your smile, with everything you're doing. Stay safe, stay awesome. God bless you. We're definitely going to be talking soon and again and again and again. Take care, brother.
Take care. Thank you so much.
Cheers. Very welcome. Ciao.